You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm Stephen Cabral, and today on our Total Wellness Tuesday show, I'm going to bring you the top reasons why your hair may be thinning or it may be falling out. Now, I've gotten quite a number of questions from the stephencabral.com/Ask Cabral webpage to answer this question. So again, so many of you have asked this question that I'm not going to name names specifically of how this one came about, but I also see this quite a bit in my practice. I get at least one person in per week who is looking just specifically on this. And so I want to go through this because a lot of people just say, oh, it's low thyroid, or it's male pattern baldness, or it's, X. But there's so many reasons why, and a lot of them that you might not even be thinking about. So let's go over that right now. This will be a great episode, and hopefully one day I can put together a little PDF of all this information as well. Let's go through a few first that you may already know about. So the low thyroid, now it's called hypothyroid. So a lot of people who have lower thyroid, meaning Hashimoto's or low thyroid, that means they're TSH. So when you look at thyroid stimulating hormone, that's the one that most MDs will run on blood work. You should run your T4, your T3, your reverse T3, and your TPO. But that's only if you have a TSH above 3, or really above 3, 3.5 is when I would run it. I like to see a TSH of about 0.6 to about 2.5 at the highest. Anything really above 3, I'm going to look deeper into what's going on. Why is the thyroid basically asking to produce more thyroid stimulating hormone? Like, why isn't there enough T4 or T3? And it's usually T3, which is the active form of thyroid. So that is one reason. So we have that out of the way. Yes, if you have low thyroid, well, improve your thyroid. And if you improve your thyroid, then you're going to have less chance of that hair thinning and falling out. All right, so that's one down. Now, a second one is anemia. Some people know about this one, some people don't. But if your iron is low, then that can also mean that you're going to have thinning or loss of hair. Now, keep in mind that anemia can come from many different reasons, many different reasons why, and it's not just low iron. Now, remember, iron needs other cofactors to be able to get into those red blood cells, and it needs B vitamins. It's going to need magnesium. It's going to need copper in a lot of cases. It's going to need B12, folate, and vitamin C. So, again, it's not just that one thing, and that's really important as well. So when you look at anemia, don't just look at iron. Yes, bring up your iron stores if needed with good, healthy iron-based foods or take a natural iron-based supplement. But, really that's where you want to look at. Now, the next one is if your B vitamins are too low. So we just talked about iron being low. Well, the B vitamins help also with iron. So if your B vitamins are too low, the anti-stress vitamins, which is going to come up in a minute, then you might be low on B vitamins. So that's something to look at as well. And again, these things are really easy to actually take an active B complex that's going to get more into your body, or just an overall multi or all-in-one every morning that has B vitamins in that as well. It should be enough, but a lot of people need a little extra B when their bodies are stressed. So let's get right into it. The next one is stress. It's both emotional and physical. So let's talk about the physical first. If you started a new workout program and it's really hard on your body, like a boot camp or, intense intervals that you haven't done before, that can also cause hair loss. Now, a lot of these are just temporary, meaning the hair can grow back. And that's the nice thing is once the physical stress has kind of gone down a little bit, the hair can grow back. So it's important to look at. Really hard workout program in the beginning, the hair can actually fall out as a response to that because you're essentially using up more protein, and the hair is protein. Emotional stress. So emotional stress is another one. People going through emotional times actually can lose hair. That's seen all the time, right? This is just something that science is catching up with now, but emotional stress actually can make your hair fall out, and it can actually make your hair go gray. There is truth to that because you're demineralizing your body, right? And your hair needs minerals, and it certainly needs melanin, for the color as well. So stress is a big one, really, really big one. Now, along with that, meaning the physical stress, your protein intake could be too low. So especially if you're lower protein in general, and then you start a workout program and you're definitely not getting enough protein, that's a big deal. Because again, your hair is a tissue, it's a living tissue, it needs amino acids, it needs protein. So you have to make sure you keep those protein stores up. How much protein do you need? Well, if you really want to just really play in the safe side, about your half your body weight in grams per day. Now that's your healthy body weight. Let's say you're 200 pounds, but you feel like your healthy body weight is probably like 160. Well, you're going to need about 80 grams of protein per day, right? Split that over 4 meals. It's about 20 grams per meal. Easy. I mean, really, really easy to do. Now, again, most people don't need that much protein, but if you're just trying to play it safe, it's an easy way to look at it. All right. So keep those protein stores up. Another one that's common, I think a lot of people know about this, I'm just going to mention it in passing, is pregnancy. And especially right after giving birth. Like I just know with my own wife as well, after giving birth, her hair started to actually recede a little bit. And she has lots of hair. And so she would see it come out in much larger clumps. And again, after about 8 weeks or so, it did start to grow back. And it grew back totally normal as how it was before. But in pregnancy, as your hormones are changing as well, that can cause hair loss as well. So now let's get more into those hormones. So a lot of girls taking birth control, their actual estrogen and progesterone levels become imbalanced. Taking a birth control itself can cause hair loss. So again, if you went on a new type of birth control or you went on birth control for the first time, if you don't see that hair loss subside, meaning like switch back in about 6 to 8 weeks, that may not be the correct birth control for you, and you might want to look into that. Now, on the male side of things, if you're taking testosterone or any anabolic, even nutritional-based supplements that promote testosterone, like even if you're taking high levels of DHEA, which can convert to testosterone, not 7-keto DHEA, but just DHEA, that can lead to male pattern balding or hair loss. And the reason is this, that we know as men, you can be genetically susceptible, yes, to male pattern balding, but also there's this thing that's called dihydrotestosterone, DHT. And some men convert more testosterone to DHT, which has been now shown to increase risk for prostate-based issues, inflammation, cancer, those types of things, which of course no guy wants, and also male pattern balding. Now, if just because you're going bald as a guy does not mean that you're going to get prostate cancer. I'm not saying that at all. But the two have been linked in terms of DHT, dihydrotestosterone. So something to look into. You can certainly have it tested as well. I think that's important to check out. And as a mesomorph, meaning like in Ayurvedic medicine, they call this the pitta body type, more likely to lose hair as a male who's a pitta body type. In Ayurvedic, they say it's too much heat being produced in the body, too many enzymes. The enzymes are actually burning up the hair follicles. And those are the people we see that just, again, if you look at modern medicine, that are more genetically predisposed to genetic male pattern balding. All right, so we've gone over DHT. Let's look a little bit at autoimmune-based issues. So there's alopecia, there's lupus. So those ones specifically, we can see like, oh, well, the body is actually attacking the hair tissues, which is a tissue, which is a protein, and it's causing them to fall out. Now, in those specific ones as well, all those can come back too, but you have to look at gut function. Now, some people with total body alopecia, sometimes their hair falls out completely and does not come back. I understand that as well. But a lot of people, they lose patches of hair. And I see those people in my practice every single week, and their hair does come back. First, you have to fix that gut function. You have to fix the yeast overgrowth, the bacterial overgrowth, the intestinal permeability, fix that, decrease the stress in your life from physical, from emotional, and from also gut function. Turn down those cortisol levels, which again, the pitta body type has. That's Ayurveda. It actually is true science. The cortisol levels are too high. Bring those down, and you'll stop burning out the immune system as well. So I think that's important to look at. Now, a lot of the autoimmune-based drugs, though, as well as antidepressants, blood thinners, methotrexate, and even lithium, products like these, look into it, because a lot of medications, if you just went on a medication and started losing hair a month or 2 months or so afterwards, it can actually be tied to that medication. So please do look into your medications as well. Another one is too much vitamin A. So sometimes people can get overzealous. And you know what? It's usually not from a natural-based supplement form. What it is from a prescription vitamin A or even a vitamin A for the skin. So look into that as well. Make sure that you're not taking in too much vitamin A. How much is too much vitamin A? really for a long dosage over 10,000 units a day or over 25,000. There are some supplements that are 25 or 100,000, but those would be for short term to boost the immune system. You'd have to look at your overall vitamin A, 2,500, 5,000 a day, typically no issues at all. But once you start going above the 10,000, it may be too much for some people. It may be too stimulating. Okay. So look into that. That's kind of brand new research, so that's important as well. And then a few others. So there's chemotherapy drugs too. So a lot of people ask, will my hair come back after I have chemotherapy? It does. It typically does come back. Now, it might take 6 months or it might take longer, but your hair typically does come back after chemotherapy-based treatment. A few other big ones, PCOS, again, female hormone dysregulation, a lot of times an increase in testosterone, a lot of times sugar imbalances, so that's really important to look at as well with PCOS, is controlling blood sugar, controlling insulin, making sure cortisol levels aren't too high as well. Too rapid of weight loss. So a lot of times you go on a weight loss program, you might lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds right away. Now, this doesn't happen with most people, but some people could see a loss in actual protein too. So they're not taking enough protein as they're losing weight. And that's why we're really careful on our nutrition plans to make sure that everyone's getting, really at least 30, 50 grams minimum per day of protein. A lot of people take it down even lower than that. I don't believe in that. That's why I don't believe in too little protein for too long. Really important for your hair because remember, it's a tissue in your body. It's a living thing. It needs those amino acids. It needs the protein. And the last one I want to go over for you right now is it really does matter what you put in your hair. A lot of people put in chemicals that dye their hair. A lot of people put in chemicals that strip their hair, that kind of bleach it before they put in the actual, I should say that's more important. If you bleach your hair first, you're basically weakening it. You're thinning it. It can break much, much more easily and fall out. But also the hair products that you're using, make sure they're natural. Make sure that they don't contain any of those products which I've mentioned in previous episodes that are going to cause not only issues with the scalp and the skin, but a weakening of the protein itself. Because again, you don't want to weaken your hair by putting product in it. Now, can you use some product? Absolutely. You can use natural-based products to put in your hair, without a doubt. And there's no issues with shampooing or cleaning your hair either, as long as it does come from a more natural-based product. So we went over so many different things today, but some real quick takeaways are just make sure that if you're doing any type of hormone-based work or treatment or anything like that, that it's the correct dosage for you. Next is make sure you get in your B vitamins, your multivitamin. And one thing I didn't mention is make sure you get enough antioxidants. So all of those things do matter. So get a good multi or get a good all-in-one, really important. Make sure you're getting your B vitamins in, that your iron's up. So if you are vegan, you are vegetarian, that you're looking at your high iron-based foods. I post those on Instagram many times, so just check out Instagram.com/Stephen Cabral. Making sure you're keeping your protein up high enough and that you don't start too hard, too fast in any workouts so it doesn't cause too much physical stress. And if you're under a lot of emotional stress, do try your best to try to control that and breathe through it as much as you can. So again, big episode, a lot of different reasons why, but within all of that, hopefully you can probably find 2 or 3 different reasons that you have to work on specifically that work for you. And I know if you do that, you'll most likely see a cessation, a stopping of the hair falling out, and then eventually it should grow back for most people. Thank you everyone for tuning into another Cabral Concept. I'll be back real soon with more episodes.
Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equi.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.